You've got to tune to the Midday Show on KEXP, where the music matters, streaming live at KEXP.org. You can find us at 90.3 FM in Seattle. And live here in the KEXP studios, it's Rostam. Sounding amazing. The brand new album, Half Light, just came out last week. And what a treat to have Rostam and a local string section performing songs from the new record live in studio today.
Please, don't let it get to you. Even if you don't realize it, it's still all up to you. Even if you don't realize it, it's still all up to you. Even when it don't make sense, even when it don't make sense. Actually, I want you more when it don't make sense. So please, don't let it get to you. I know that you won't realize it, but it's still all up to you. I know that you won't realize it, but it's still all up to you. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't try. And it's not gonna feel the way that you expected, and it's gonna hurt to figure it out. Yeah, but if you're patient and you're kind, I don't know why. It's no fun, and how come I still think of you now?
Absolutely exquisite. Rostam live on KEXP. The new album, Half Light, just released last week. Wow, so wonderful to hear you performing these in studio today. Thanks so much for coming.
Thank you for having me. Lovely to be in Seattle.
It's so great to see you. I look at you and I think of the long history that KEXP has had with you, maybe about 10 years now.
Definitely. I think I remember we sent the Vampire Weekend Blue CDR to you guys in 2007. Before we had a label or a manager or anything like that. And I remember you guys would just play like every song off that 10 song CDR. And it was just kind of like, whoa, this is crazy.
Well, it's a testament to how great that album was. We love to tell the story, and it tells a lot of the story of what KEXP is all about. But when you were signed, the label asked us if we would stop playing it because they wanted to prepare it, for a proper release. And we're like, no, we won't, but we'll keep playing it when you release it on the label. But we're like, no, we've got this. There's no way we can stop playing it now. But that's such a testament to what a beautiful, fully formed album that was. I mean, you made that record pretty quickly after the band started playing, and you produced that record. A lot of people are talking about how great your voice is, what a great producer you are, but you've really been doing everything you're doing here today and on this new record for a very long time, before Vampire Weekend even.
Well, yeah. I mean, I got to give props to Ezra and Chris for believing in me, because that was the first album I produced in my career. I'd never produced an album before. So they knew that I had the drive and the aspiration and the knowledge, and they believed in me. So I got to thank those guys for believing in me. But yeah, being a producer is kind of like, I don't know how else to do it in terms of making music. It seems like that's how it works for me.
Because a lot of people ask you about the very cool production and collaborations that you've had. Frank Ocean, Charlie XCX, you've worked with Santigold, the list goes on, Hamilton Lighthouse, our good friend. But I can't think of a record that you've done, like Discovery, and that you haven't produced.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like that's like part of my role in what I'm a part of, and I think it'll continue to be. I like being able to come here and perform for you guys, and I like to be able to be in the studio, work with different artists. I want to be able to just kind of do both in my life, and I think there's time and there's space to do that.
There is. There's no reason that you can't do that. I mean, you've proven now for many years that you can do that quite well. Although, speaking of time, I think it's fair to say that Half Light, which is your solo debut full length,
is
true. Very long awaited. And I mean, we've heard some solo songs from you before, but you have only released a few. I feel like going back as far as 2011 or 12, we heard something, but what made you take so much time for these other artists that you work with, what made you finally take the time for yourself?
It wasn't that I finally took the time. It was more that I felt like I guess I had some kind of mental energy for the first time that could devote itself to finishing the record, because I was kind of working on the record on and off since like maybe 2007. And I would pick it up and put it down, and it would give me a lot of joy to work on it. But it wouldn't necessarily be something that I would share with, I was ready to share with the world. So I guess it just felt like I was like, okay, I think I can do this now. I've worked on it and picked it up and put it down, and now it's time to like share it. Otherwise it's like kind of meaningless.
A lot of the sounds that we hear on this new record are very familiar to us. You have a beautiful voice, you have these beautiful electronic textures, you bring in some warm acoustic instrumentation, but none of this is new to us. However, you always seem to be pushing the boundaries. There just always seems to be on your every project, something you produce, something that you release for yourself, just something new. I mean, how do you think about that in your head and conceptualize that, or do you not do it? It just bubbles up organically.
I guess I was just felt like I felt like in college. I gotta shout out Dave Longstreth from Dirty Projectors. He was in college at a different college at the same time I was in college, and he was making albums. He would just make like 4 or 5 albums over the course of college, and
they all kind of, it felt like he was doing something that he had never done before. And that really inspired me. And today, Dave and I are friends, and we get together and we play each other music. But I was a little bit younger back then, and I think something about just like getting into Dave's music, Dirty Projectors, it did put some kind of fire under me to be like, if your music isn't pushing boundaries, then it's worthless. Because I think that is kind of, I don't want to speak for Dave, but that's what he inspired me to think about. When I think back to like what might make me sort of feel obsessed with like trying to do something that hasn't been done before.
That's a great example of a man that's pushing boundaries, for sure. We're live here in the KEXP studios with Rostam, and so much has been made of you being out front, singing on this record, but you sang on almost all, if not all, the Vampire Weekend albums. You have a beautiful voice, so obviously you knew that you could sing. Is it weird, though, to be out in front singing, maybe even playing an instrument, singing at the same time?
It's kind of fun to do. It's an instrument. You got to take care of it. You got to, be in the bathroom half an hour before the show, like doing your vocal warm-ups and stuff. But I enjoy doing it. And I feel like I've always been able to use my voice on recordings as kind of like a texture. And now I'm using it differently. So it feels like I don't know. It's a hard question to answer. Those are hard questions to answer. But actually later today, I'll be doing a little performance at Easy Street, the record store, at 7 p.m. And it'll just be me and a guitar or me and a keyboard. So you can really get to hear me.
You can get up close and personal with Rostam.
Yeah, you can get really up close and personal. But I was just thinking about that. It was funny.
That's going to be all ages, by the way. So bring the kids out.
All ages, right on.
I have to mention your family. I'm a fan of pretty much everyone in your family. There's so
amazing,
much talent, and you have gotten to work with your brother, who's an incredible filmmaker and storyteller. I am a huge fan of your mother's.
Oh, thank you so much.
She's a chef, and I can't even count how many cookbooks that she has. I wish I had the entire library. But man, your father an author, I can't imagine what it was like growing up in that family. That would be.
Yes,
I guess that's a weird question to ask.
It was fun. We have a fun family. Our family is filled with pretty strong personalities, as you could imagine.
What's it like when you all get together around the dinner table?
I think everyone in our family kind of like has the way that they see things should happen. It's like part of why we are like creative people. And sometimes it's funny because there'll be like 4 of us sitting at a table, and it's clear that like each person, wants to do something different. So, but it's fun. I love my family a lot.
Can you cook?
I can cook, and I guess the person that I love to cook with is my mom. So
I would love to cook with
so
your
mom. when I'm at home, I don't really cook that complicated of food. I like to make like eggs for myself, and but I make really good eggs. I can cook like Persian rice, and I do that sometimes when I have guests come over. We'll do like barbecuing, and I'll make rice with tahdig. And tahdig is like, if you've never had Persian food, tahdig is the golden crust that you can make happen at the bottom of the rice pot. And it kind of tastes like popcorn. If you do it right, it's probably like the best food in the world. So I can do that. I don't do that for myself a ton, but when my mom comes and visits me, or when I'm visiting them, we do a lot of cooking together. So that's always a big part of being with the family.
Oh, that sounds so nice. You moved across the country. You've been living on the West Coast for a couple of years. Is that right?
That's right.
Has that been a big change for you?
I started, it's funny. I started creeping out to the West Coast actually back in 2011 when I started working on these songs, interestingly. And it's been kind of like an organic process of moving there. I lived in New York for 12 years. I still love going back there. I still have many positive feelings, but right now I don't live there. I guess that's all I should say. I don't want to say like I'm going to live on the West Coast for the rest of my life, but...
Yeah, you're too young to say that.
Yes, I'm too young.
Who knows?
I don't need to make any pronouncements. But yeah, I like both I like both the East Coast and the West Coast. Now when I spend time in the East Coast, mostly I spend time in Provincetown, which is in Massachusetts. I don't know if you've ever been there, but
It's very beautiful there.
yeah, it's very beautiful.
Well, it's nice to have you here on the West Coast, but you're about to spend some time on the road. And again, as you said, tonight you're going to be at Easy Street Records at 7 o'clock, a free all ages in-store. Thanks for taking the time to come by today.
Thank you so much.
We're live here in the KEXP studios with Rostam. His new album, Half Light, came out on Friday, and he's going to play a few more songs. Wow, he's moving all over this room. Just moved to the grand piano. But he's only going to sit there and play the harmonica.
Give me 1 second. I'm just going to put some headgear on.
You've got to tune to KEXP, listener-powered radio.
So this is the title track from the record. It's called Half Light.
Somewhere in the half-light, I could feel it coming true. I know it, and I knew it, but I did it just for you. Baby, are you getting cold? My room is just down the hall, and if we stay the night, I promise not to call. Oh, but somewhere in the half-light, I could feel it coming back. I get it, there's no future, but I can't see it through the cracks. Baby, is the door unlocked? Is your bed getting cold? I know if I stay the night, you'll ask me to go. Oh, but somewhere in the half-light, I felt the morning coming through. I know it, and I knew, but can't see it, I refuse. Baby, all the lights came up, what are you gonna do? Baby, all the lights came up, what are you gonna do?
So beautiful. Rostam live on KEXP, the title track from the new album, Half Light. Once again, Rostam playing tonight at East Street Records in West Seattle at 7 p.m., free and all ages.
Don't listen to me, I only believe myself. So I'm going somewhere to do that alone. And then I see it, the light falls through the room, and all of it don't seem so hard. Do you ever get the sense you're watching someone else, your face against the glass, across 11th Ave? Some people say they know, they never really know. They all wait for something that never comes to them. But all of these dreams keep coming back to me slowly, slowly. And sometimes I laugh when I think about how you know me. Yeah, you know me. Comes to your heart, down a shaft from afar, pulls you out of bed, into the noise. Whoever's up this late, you're really still awake. Why can't you go to sleep like everybody else? When all of these dreams keep coming back to me slowly, slowly. And sometimes I laugh when I think about how you know me, yeah, you know me. But all of these dreams keep coming back to me slowly, slowly. And sometimes I laugh when I think about how well you know me, yeah, you know me. But all of these dreams keep coming back to me slowly, slowly. Sometimes I laugh when I think about how you know me. Yeah, you know me.
Oh, so beautiful. That is Rostam live on KEXP, Gwan from the new album Half Light. And that string section sounds amazing. It must be so fun to work with strings.
It is. I can't play live without them. I wouldn't know how.
Well, you do such a great job with it. Thank you all for coming today. And Rostam, thank you. It's such a pleasure to have you here today. And the new album's so beautiful.
Oh, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. Got a lot of love for Seattle.
You've got it tuned to KEXP Seattle. That was amazing. Oh my gosh. It sounds so good in this room. Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.